thank you very much for joining us again. This is going to be episode number 4. And then we will make episode number 5 in order to compile the 5 episodes so people can get to hear and know who you are and what are your viewpoints. And then it will be great also in the future when I speak with your parents and your boss, possibly, and the taxi driver from the heaven, that to hear their perspectives and also how they have been working with you and coping with you, and how do they see the whole situation of the individuals with physical disabilities in the community of Zambia, and what are the things that could be done to support. And that will support a great deal the idea of developing a great kind of a living lab service for advocating the needs of the people with disabilities, but also to give them a chance to have a sound or voice into the community, and also to sort of start generating solutions by themselves and for themselves. And you had a very good start in the last section that we spoke about the people hiding their children with disabilities, of course, based on your research in this very specific section of your country, but this is an overall world problem. And I'm interested to know a little bit more about how do you see that as a person living the condition, if that could happen to you. What would be the feeling inside the house all the time? You don't get a chance to see the people outside.
Well, I think it's something I wouldn't even want to imagine. I think in the first place, I wouldn't imagine myself being in such a situation. Because I feel, firstly, it's so it's just so dishuman. I think it just shows that people around you, first of all, don't regard you or consider you as a human being. Yeah, and it also just shows that people around you don't really appreciate and value your being as a person. Because if they did value your being and appreciate you as a person, they wouldn't be ashamed of you. Because they would know that you are also just like them, and they'll appreciate the fact that you are a human being, first of all. Despite you having a disability, but the most cardinal thing is that you are a human being.
You're a human being.
Course, yeah, and you're created by God. You're created in God's image. So
exactly.
I think it would be so dishuman, I think, on my part. It's something that will really demoralize me as a person. Something that will really have a negative impact on my self-esteem.
That's right.
Because without interacting with the world out there, without interacting with other people out there, not really knowing what's going on around you. Just being kept in an enclosed place, it means you don't get to understand your environment.
That's right.
Yeah, and you also don't get to appreciate how the society operates, how your community operates. And as such, you won't be able to relate with your community and your society as a whole.
That's right. Have there been any possibilities for someone to visit these families, or to yourself? Have you been able to talk or see somebody who has been kept inside for a very long time because of their physicalities or something like that?
Yes, I have. Though just a few.
Mm-hmm.
I think very few visits that I've had so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most memorable one for me, I think the first time I had to go into that household and see the child.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was a girl child and
Mm.
also a female, I think. Um, I had different emotions about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at first, I couldn't believe it. For me, before I had to witness such, it
Mm.
was I thought I just stumbled that just those stories that people would say.
Mm.
Once I did witness that, it became more real to me.
Mm.
Uh, and I remember very well the first time I was short of weight. I think
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that I had to do was to cry.
Mm.
And you could see the child wasn't even willing at all to talk to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
despite the child being of age, of being able to talk.
That's right.
She wasn't able to talk to anybody. And you could just see the sort of frightness
Mm.
uh, that you could see on her face. Uh,
Mm.
when the mother had to open the door to the room where she was being kept,
Mm.
I think it came as a shock to her that other people were entering that room apart from the mother.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
and you could
she cannot go
tell
even to the living room.
no, she
I
was
see.
being kept in the bedroom. So
Mm-hmm.
that's her ever place. That's the only place that she knows.
Mm.
So
Wow.
only the father, sometimes could just go there and take food for her. Uh, she couldn't even go out to use the toilet. So they had to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, couldn't even find her a better pot to use. So they had
Wow.
to improvise a container that is being used
Mm-hmm.
to remove herself. And we found the container in the corner of the room, of the
Mm.
bedroom. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I think for me as a point I thought it was a movie I'm watching. It wasn't
Mm.
something real, it was something fictional, but then later on
Mm.
I had to get it it had to get to me to say, okay, this is reality.
Mm.
This is what somebody has been going through
That's
from the
right.
time they were born.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
But something
Wow.
so heartbreaking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What would you think could be the best service for those kids? Um, I don't know. I am sure their parents would like to give them better possibilities, but they're scared or they're worried about the community shaming or some kind of taboos around the community. Um, what would you think, let's say, the government of Zambia could think of doing for this type of children and individuals kept inside, because there might be older individuals still inside to date?
I think uh the best thing that can be done is, like I said the last time, I think it all has to do with the change of mindset. It
Mm.
all begins from there. Because as much as maybe we do, we say we put in place infrastructure where to take such children. As long as there isn't that change of mindset from the communities where they're coming from, it will still be a challenge. Because if the government had to put an institution in place, it's not quite easy that we are sure that those children will be brought to those institutions. So it all starts from a change of mindset
Right.
of the members of the community. I think that we dealt through a lot of sensitization, having a lot of public talks, just focusing on disability issues, and making people realize that persons with disabilities are part and parcel of the communities.
That they're living, yes.
They have to be treated as people part of the communities where they're coming from. So I feel there should be a lot of sensitization. And also there are children with disabilities that are born from health facilities. So just from there, because there are certain disabilities when you are born, they are able to tell. The health person is able to tell, say, okay, this child has a disability.
Right.
So I think from there, if the parents are continuously engaged from that point, to help them realize that it's not a taboo having a child with a disability. Also realizing the important role that they have to play in that child's life. I feel that will be more helpful. Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. And of course, you spoke a lot about the family and where the whole mindset change starts. What would you think? Do you think some of these parents are kind of despaired because they have a child with disability? Is it because of frustration, or why are they accepting to keep the child inside? Your parents didn't accept to keep you inside. So why can't other parents do the same?
Yeah, I think for others it could be frustrations. And also for others, it's also due to the fact of how other members of the families receive the birth of a child with a disability. And I've heard of stories where maybe, for instance, the father, the child, or the family, mostly I think the family will say, will put the blame on the mother of the child, to say you're the one who's responsible for having a child with a disability.
I see, because she's the one who's been carrying the baby.
Yes, because you're the one who has been carrying the baby for 9 months in your womb. So how do you give birth to such a child? So I think those are some of the common issues that are there in our communities. And so you find that in such cases, the mothers get frustrated. It's like they don't have moral support from family members. As such, it really becomes a challenge for the care of a child with a disability. So at times, you can't always put the blame on the mother or the parents on how they are reacting. Because I feel at times that's just certain parents with children with disabilities that just go through so much pressure from other members. And they are also human.
We are also humans.
Yeah, they tend to break down. I think they just reach a point where they don't know what to do. They don't know how they are going to support that child. So the best thing to do is to keep that child indoors, so that they just try to avoid name calling, shaming. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the intervention to the parents like that is also very important, this type of moral support. And I don't know, how is it like in Zambia? Do you have some kind of centers for this type of activities, or this is just an individual and community or church work to kind of give the moral support to the mothers, not only of the people with disabilities, but it could be a mother of a widow, or this type of people who are suffering from something?
I wouldn't say we have a specific institutions for such yet. But of course, I know certain organizations.
That's right.
Where parents themselves, those that have enough courage, would realize themselves, parents with children with disabilities. Because I remember my parents were also part of one of such organizations. Yeah, I was growing up. So it's not like an institution per se. So it's just a few parents that could come together and just support each other. Yeah, just try to give encouragement to each other.
And do these, for example, other mothers who are not coming to these groups know about the existence of these groups? Maybe they don't know at all.
And there are some that don't know at all. They have got no idea.
No idea. Yeah.
There are such groups existing. Because I've also noticed that I think you find that usually most that parents that are privileged to be part of such groupings, you also find that some of them are the elite ones.
Yes.
Those that are educated.
Educated
because
parents.
of their background, like Christian background, they know the importance of coming together, just talking about sharing their stories and just helping each other emotionally, to raise those children. But then we have got certain mothers, parents that are in our rural areas of the country. Those that I think, lack of a better term, that are sort of illiterate. So for them, it's really a challenge for them to even come together and or be aware of have information to say there are such groupings or organizations that they can go to.
For example, to this mother or father of the girl that you visited, I am sure you spoke some well, they saw you there, they could relate with you there, and I am sure you spoke with them some kind of positive ways forward. What was their reaction? Because they were keeping their child inside all the time.
I think the mother frankly told me, I think the mother said it was her first time interacting with a person with a disability that is educated.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. She has interacted with persons with disabilities, of course, that are older than her child within her community, but they were not educated.
Not educated, yeah.
So for her, she only used to say the only thing that her child would do once she grows up is be a beggar as a person with a disability, because that's the only example that she had of people were close to her in a community, for persons with disabilities that were close to her. So she was really shocked. I sort of marveled that she had to interact with a person with disability who is educated. Yeah.
I see.
So in some way she felt more motivated to see that
It's
I was able.
possible.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think I became a role model to her
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
a child. And the fact that I'm female, I
Yeah,
think that's even encouraged her more. Yeah.
more. Did the child go out then after that, or is the child still inside?
It wasn't something that was immediate.
Mhm.
The child also wasn't willing. Um,
Ah,
to, and I think I wouldn't blame her. She has always
mm.
been.
Inside, yes.
So it was also quite difficult for her now to come to adapt
Mm.
to new environment that she had.
Adaptation,
So
yes. Mm.
yeah, it had to take a lot of time to talk to her.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I couldn't stay long in that area because I had to go back to school.
Of course, yeah.
Uh, but of course, I could once in a while get in touch with the volunteers that I worked with in
Mhm.
that area just to see and monitor how the child was now relating uh, to this new environment that she had. But I think as time went by, or it's
Mm.
quite a while, I think almost a year,
Mm.
uh, I got the good news that now she was enrolled in school. So
Wonderful. Oh, yeah, that's very good. I
uh,
think, yeah,
right now
that's very good.
she's still in school. Yeah,
Mm.
she's a
That's fantastic. Then she's going to change the life of another person as well, in the life to come. Um, I was just wondering what could be the way to encourage these people to come out. I mean, to go outside. Let's say the child has been inside all the time, and then the mother invited someone like you, or you appeared into this family, or even without appearing, but you maybe decide to do an intervention into this community where you need to start getting or letting these people come to the world and to really face the people. What do you think would be the best ways? Because that can also cause a lot of trauma to this child who has never been outside before.
um yeah, I I do agree with you. It causes a lot of trauma.
Hmm.
Uh, so I think the best intervention, I think there should be a one-on-one uh, sort of counseling sessions that
Hmm.
would take place.
Yeah,
Because I believe they all have different uh, they have different situations.
that's right.
Yeah, and also the progress would be different
Hmm.
depending on the person. So I don't really think there could be a general intervention that
Mm.
would work everyone.
Mm.
But uh, I feel it would be something that will be according to the person and
Mm.
also the personality. Because I've
Exactly.
noticed that, yeah, despite our persons all having a disability, but
Mm.
they are also they have different personalities.
That's
But
right.
I think if I look at one general intervention, I'll look at counseling
Mm.
one-on-one. I think that would be more helpful because now you get
Mm.
to really understand. Uh,
Mm.
you get to have that deeper connection with the person.
Right.
You get to really understand what they think,
Mm.
what their opinions are, what their perspectives are. So even
Mm.
as they go out there, you know at least be able to guide them to say, okay, according to your personality, this
Mm.
is how you can relate to society.
That's right. That's right. Hmm. Yes, that's very important. And yes, of course, you can't avoid the community in any sense, whether you're a person with disability or without disability. There will always be something about you that the community will point a finger on, and confidence is something that needs to be imposed a lot to these people and the parents as well. And this brings
there should be a lot of self-esteem building.
Yeah,
all starts from there.
and this is something, this brings me to think about what would be that positive message that you give to these people, that they feel like, yes, no, I'm ready, I can go out. Or I'm sure this has to start from the parents. What would be that positive phrase or message that they would need to speak to themselves every time when they see their child, in order to get their child to the community and integrate the child to the community and support the child to the best as any other child around?
I think my best message most of the time, more especially to those that I interact with, parents, children, disabled or persons that I think I always tell to say, look at me as an example. Just me as a person, as a being. I tell a story.
That's right.
Without even me saying anything. I think what I always say, when you just look at me, at the capacity that I've come to you, I think that's enough encouragement for
exactly.
Exactly. For those that I would just have to interact with, maybe online or something like that. But I don't talk in person, I would say. I like using the phrase disability is not inability. I think those few words just means a lot to someone.
That's right.
If you realize, of course you do realize that you have a disability, but that shouldn't be your focus.
That's right.
I always say you have to focus on your ability.
On your abilities, yes. That little that you can do well is what is your ability. And that is whether you are living with any type of disability or if you don't have any disabilities. But everybody is always focusing on a small competence that they have in order to get themselves to the next level. This is very, very, it's very sad to hear, but I think there is a lot of room for development in our communities in order to bring the best of the people who are living with physical disabilities or any sorts of disabilities, all these type of stigmas that the communities have put into the people. But by giving them a voice, it can solve. And I think you are an example here, but there should be many Christians around the world, I would say. But now, since we're speaking about Zambia, there could be many Christians around Zambia who are willing to go and talk to these people, because it's a reality that we human beings tend to forget. Once everything is okay, then we think, yeah, this is my life and everything is okay. But that Christine who is a CEO of the company, that Christine who is a member of parliament, that Christine who is a minister, that Christine who is a parishioner, or any sort of Christine should go out there and tell these people, look at me, I made it. Because if we don't do that, then we can't affect a wider community.
Definitely.
So Christine, we thank you very much for this insightful discussions, and we look forward to discuss even more as we go on.
Thank you so much for having me.